1 second. I'm good. Are you good? Can you see yourself?
Yeah.
Is it recording audio?
It is.
Ready?
Ready.
3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the Ridge Rolling Podcast. It's the day of the national championship. We are here in beautiful Los Angeles, California, getting ready for the game. And 3, 2, 1. Football! All right. So we got the TCU Horned Frogs taking on the Georgia Dogs. And JD, what's your thoughts on the game?
Well, you look at it, TCU was definitely not supposed to be here. Georgia was probably one of the top 4 teams predicted to make it. Last year they won the championship, so they didn't lose a ton. They gained some people, so they probably weren't expecting to not make it, but they're back here. So the Dogs this year, they've had a very good season. In fact, they went undefeated. At one point, they were not favored to win versus Tennessee, and Tennessee was the number 1 team, and they showed who was boss. And then they just kept playing their game, and they got to the SEC championship and dominated LSU to make the college football playoff. Now, when you look at it for the Dogs, last week in the college football playoff, they were in the Peach Bowl versus Ohio State, and that was what many would say probably their worst game of the season. I really do not know what happened that entire game. Just something was off. Stetson, the first 3 quarters was horrible. He could not make anything. But then the fourth quarter, we turned it around, and we got some luck. God sending the win to make Ohio State have the worst game-winning field goal attempt of all time. And Dogs are here, 42-41. They'll be playing TCU tonight in the college football championship.
I think, too, what happened last week is they really controlled the tight ends. And I feel like all year that's been kind of what's happened is some team like Missouri or even Kent State, they'll kind of control Georgia and their offense isn't that good, and then Brock Bowers will hit a 70-yard touchdown.
Yep. Or
Darnell Washington will hit a 30-yard bomb.
Right.
And if you look at that game last week, Brock Bowers only had a touchdown, I don't think, right? And Darnell got hurt, so he was out. They didn't do anything really until the fourth quarter, and it kind of opened up. But I think that's the big key. I think TCU has to, contain Brock Bowers and make sure he doesn't do anything, or at least try to keep him to yardage and not touchdowns, because he always has a bomb or, some crazy play that he'll end up doing. I feel like Georgia's always had, and if you watch all season, like the LSU game, Georgia has luck. They have plot armor. And then there's nothing to fault them for it, but they do. They are a lucky team. Stuff goes their way. And when you're the best team, stuff does go your way. Mm-hmm. Like that crazy field goal attempt when they blocked it, and then no one was like, oh, we pick it up, and they picked it up right over touchdown.
Yeah.
That just happens. Georgia that's how it is. That's their football team. They've earned that luck, but they get that luck.
Right.
But then it almost seems that TCU's a team of destiny. And, I'm pretty sure 99% of fans want TCU to win. But I think it really comes down to is Max Duggan, is how he's going to play. Because he's looked pretty good all year, and I think he was a very, very good quarterback this year. However, his best game of the year was that game against Michigan. So will he be able to do that again against this Georgia defense? That is probably one of the greatest defenses ever. Or is he going to just kind of go back to his regular self, which is still very good, but you have to be very, very good to beat a defense like Georgia's.
Right. And then the thing you were saying about the tight ends, I remember last week in the Peach Bowl versus Ohio State, the announcers kept saying Brock Bowers has done nothing this game. They haven't even thrown it to him at all because TCU focused so heavily on Ohio State focused so heavily on our tight ends, and then they lucked out with Darnell getting out. But I think Brock Bowers only finished with 2 catches for maybe 30 yards.
And I think that's kind of what their thing it was. I think they said most of Georgia's offense comes from they throw it to the short stuff to Brock and Darnell and let them kind of get going and running. And then when they start defending these little tight ends and stuff, so when they throw it deep to McConkey or I don't remember the other receiver's name, but they throw it deep is when they do that. Because, they don't have the best receivers ever. They have good tight ends. They have good running back. They run the ball, and they weren't running the ball well against Ohio State either.
And it's something else to say, even though the Dogs' tight ends were not doing great, they weren't playing their game, we still had people step up. Aaron Smith, random wide receiver who had 3 catches the entire year, had 3 catches in that Peach Bowl. I mean, one was that 70, 80-yard massive touchdown that really switched it in the fourth quarter for the Dogs.
And here's the thing, too. That was Georgia's worst game they ever played in 2 years probably. Yeah. They scored 42 points.
Right. Yeah.
42 points.
Yep.
And we're talking about, oh, yeah, they contain tight ends. They didn't have a lot of offense. But they scored 42 points.
Yeah.
Like, it's just they're another level. And, like, I want TCU to win. But I do feel like this could easily be a boat race. Like, 40-something to 12. 14, you know. But
it could go a lot of ways. I mean, I could see it being a very close, tight game. Because, like, you have, like, the underdog, the inspired, or the underfrog, I should say.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah, good job. But then, because that's Ohio State showed them it was possible. Right. You know, these boys in TCU, you know, they beat Michigan, who beat the crap out of Ohio State.
Right.
And that shows them, like, oh, you know, we can do this.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Ohio State probably should have won that game. So that's basically telling these guys in TCU, like, holy crap, we can win this game. It's possible. You know, they're not going into it going against the greatest team ever.
Right.
And it kind of just seems like, you know, it's just a team of destiny.
Yeah.
But, you know, that doesn't matter. There's not – God doesn't care about sports.
Right.
But it's like one of those things. It's like it's just one of those teams, you know, they got nothing to lose. It doesn't matter. If Georgia loses to TCU, that looks horrible for Georgia.
Yep.
TCU and lost Georgia.
Right.
Doesn't matter. They won a bowl game.
Right.
You know. But it's going to be really interesting. And then they just can't make mistakes. It's the same thing like Georgia in the LSU game. I'm telling you, the luck.
Mm-hmm.
They threw the picks. They threw the interceptions. So like that crazy interception that bounced right in his face. It's just, will Georgia make mistakes or will TCU make mistakes? Yeah. And, you know, they've been a team. They have very few interceptions, very few fumbles. All year they've been pretty airtight when it comes to that. But it's just going to be in the game, you know. Any team can be any team if one team fumbles the ball 4 times.
Right.
Or, you know, but then, and then too, like, they run that 3-3-5 defense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a 3-3-5 does not work against Georgia. It works against the pass, and it has worked all year because all the teams in the Big 12 are passing first teams. And then who's TCU's one loss?
Kansas State.
You know, Kansas State does? They run the ball.
Yeah.
They have 3-5 that lost to Kansas State.
Right.
So when you go against a team like Georgia, who if they can run the ball, they're going to run the ball. You know, this could get, you know, you could see a bunch of runs that start, I say 10 yards, 15 yards, 7 yards.
Right.
And it's like, oh, my God, and they start wailing on them. That's another possibility, very, very possible that can happen.
Yeah. The only thing, though, for the Dogs is, like, they have had decently consistent first quarter, like, struggles. Mm-hmm. Like, so for some reason they can't get off to a good start. But I mean, I just feel like we're like the best team. Like I feel like our running backs and like our passing attack, I feel like we're like so balanced. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like both sides of the ball are very good. And then even though Stetson, like come back to your plot armor thing, even though Stetson played horrible the first 3 quarters, fourth quarter he was on flaming fire. You know what I'm saying? He drove us down there last minute of the game, which set us up to get the lead, and then Ohio State sailed left. But, yeah, and then the thing with the tight ends, both of our tight ends are West Coast guys, Las Vegas and California. I don't know, maybe that could play a part in it. And then going back to TCU, I mean, it like every other year I would be pulling so hard for TCU if it wasn't the Dogs in the championship. But it is, and, I mean, it's just crazy to think how, like, Max Duggan – started the year off a back, or
he shouldn't have played. Yeah,
exactly.
He shouldn't have played this year.
They were projected to go 5-7, and then the quarterback gets hurt, and Max Duggan just goes on a rail, and he gets. I mean, it's crazy to think that he was like a backup, and then he was a Heisman candidate, and now he's playing in the national championship.
Whoever's writing this whole thing is doing really well. I know, but. And you just really don't want anyone to lose. Oh no, everyone wants Georgia to lose. No, no one wants Georgia to lose. Everyone hates Georgia.
Yeah. For
the most part, outside of Georgia, you know.
Right.
But I really hope it'll be a good game at least. But like I'm saying, I think it easily could be a complete destruction.
Right.
You know? But then, you know, the reason TCU beat Michigan so bad, that pick six. Two of them. Yeah. Like, that was like, holy crap.
Right.
Like, the first play of the game, and Michigan had a 65-yard run, I think, and then answer right back. TCU went down and scored, and then pick six. And it's like, oh, my God, we're going to win this game. Right. So I think we go out there, someone fumbles, Stetson throws a pick, or, you know, TCU goes down there and scores first. Holy crap, we're in this game.
Yeah.
We can do this. And then it's Quentin Johnson, the TCU's best receiver. Because he's so good at getting loose in those, especially in the Big 12. Big 12's all defending about pass. The DBs are awesome. If he gets loose, if he just hides behind one of those safeties, and Max Duggan finds him deep, and there's a 70-yard touchdown, that place is going to get rocking.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, oh, crap. And Georgia will be like, oh, no, this team's actually good. You might start scrambling. And we're kind of repeating ourselves, but, like, there's just so many things that can happen in this game.
Yeah. Well, and then you look at that Michigan game, too. Michigan, they had that massive, like, 70-yard run or whatever, and then they got to fourth down. They were in field goal range, 4th and inches or so, and they didn't get it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that kind of switched everything in that game. And Michigan really let it get to them, and then McCarthy threw 2 bad.
Or if Georgia misses another field goal.
Yeah,
that'll be
he
killer.
missed 2. He missed
killer.
2.
That is killer.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than going down there and getting nothing to show for it.
Right. I think Dogs just if we just don't turn the ball over, I think we'll win. Because I think we are much better than TCU, but it's just will we come out and play unlike the game versus Ohio State. And I mean TCU was on fire in that college football the bowl game versus Michigan.
Wow. Sorry, I was looking. The spread is 12.5.
Yeah, that's a big spread.
So the TCU's getting 12.5. That is crazy in
Yeah.
a national championship game.
Right, but that probably just fuels the fire even more for TCU. Oh, I'm taking the over. I think Dogs by 2 touchdowns.
Do you think so?
I'll say it. I'll say 42 again to 27. I'll say 42-27 Dogs.
That is crazy.
But-
I'm a guy. I like to root for what I want.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say. I would definitely, if we were legal and allowed to make bets, I would definitely take them to beat the spread. I think it'll be closer than that. I don't
Okay.
think they're gonna win, but I think it'll be closer than that.
Okay.
But I think it'll be like 38-35. Or no. 38-28. 38-28. Yeah, 38-28 Dogs.
Okay.
I bet it'll be. I could see Georgia getting off to a hot start, and then maybe TCU kind of coming back, but just too little, too late.
Yeah. They didn't lose. They just ran out of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say that.
But and then the thing you're talking about with the wide receiver, Georgia supposedly has the best cornerback, Keely Ringo. I think he's a little overrated. I think he's a little bit of a hot shot. That could, I don't know. I'd like to see how that matchup plays out. But I mean, I think Keely Ringo will win. But
you only need to get. But that's the thing. He only has to win one time.
Exactly.
You got to mess up one coverage or busted coverage. And there's a few in the Ohio State game, busted coverages. So is Georgia going to be locked down on those and figure it out? Because then, too, the whole game, all it showed TCU's coaching staff, too, is it showed them what works and what they're going to use to work.
Exactly.
When they get past, because there was a few route concepts they used that were just weird.
Right.
Really weird. So now TCU's like, oh, let's do that. We're going to do that. We're going to do that. And it kind of just showed them, this is the answers to the test. Are they going to use them or not?
Right.
And it really is just, it's so interesting. And I guess we just keep saying that. I'm just really excited for this game.
Oh yeah. It should be a great a great matchup, I think.
But 12.5, that's crazy.
That is
to
a big
get
spread.
12.5 at a championship. But
Yeah.
I mean, it is TCU. It's not.
However, all teams who have been favored that high in a college football national championship have lost.
Really?
Yes, in the history, I think it's been like 3 or 4 teams who have been favored by that much. They've all lost. Yeah.
Team of destiny. Told you.
Yeah. So
Max
I don't
Duggan,
know.
man.
if Max Duggan could play like C.J. Stroud, it could be dangerous. C.J. Stroud's on fire.
C.J. Stroud he gave it all he had.
Yeah. And
Sometimes your best isn't enough.
Yep. Just out left.
But it's just. And I wonder was just the Luke's going there,
Yeah.
but the atmosphere. I saw a tweet that was like, I think I showed it to you.
The traveling.
That's a far drive for Georgia. This might be a home game for TCU. Dude, you have no idea.
There are so many people who make like Georgia and like Georgia football like
Their
like
life.
priority. Yes.
Their life, yeah.
They will spend anything
They
on
will
it.
sacrifice a family vacation to go to.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm sure that would be definitely more of a Red Sea
I think
crowd.
So. Yep.
But I think TCU's been in that all year. They haven't really been in games where they've been
Right.
TCU fans.
Plus, you just got to think like how many more people go to UGA than TCU? Like TCU only has 14,000.
TCU is like 40,000.
Yeah, and so I mean, just look at that comparison of alumni and everything. The odds are against TCU. You know,
It's just gonna be.
it's gonna be an interesting matchup.
It really will be.
Yeah.
But I guess that's all we got to talk about. And
Yep.
But your final score prediction, who you want to win? Say it one more time.
I
Just so we
said
get it for the
42
record.
to 27 dogs.
And the logical part of my brain says 38-28 dogs. But, that dog in me, that underdog in me
Yeah.
says 42-35 TCU.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Air raid. Max Duggan, 400 yards. 3 touchdowns, get some running back touchdowns too. And it's pick 6. I'm going to call – I call that. I call 1 pick 6 with Stetson Bennett.
Okay. I'll say Brock Bowers touchdown.
All right.
All right.
That's all we got for today. We'll take you out.
Football!